Welcome to Pop Culture Retro, which was recently voted the 15th best podcast by the residents of the Golden Years Retirement Community in Boca Raton, Florida. Each show, we'll revisit some of your favorite pop culture memories with insider and outsider perspectives. Now, please help me welcome your hosts, Ike Eisenmann and Jonathan Rosen.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of Pop Culture Retro. I'm one of your hosts, Jonathan Rosen, along with Ike Eisenmann, who once famously gave up his salary in exchange for an extended hug scene with Angie Dickinson while filming Policewoman. Hello, Ike. How are you?
Well, hello. I'm well, and thank you for bringing that pleasant memory back to mind.
I would love, she's like 90 now, by the way, and I would love to get Angie Dickinson on here. I don't know if that could ever be possible, but you know, she was one of the people that I definitely watched the show, and not for the plot when I watched Policewoman. So growing up. So.
Oh wow! Well, I can
Yes.
say I share your same interest in the show and the star.
But you got to live it, so that's
yeah.
yes.
But I really liked that. I thought that show was interesting. She played a complicated character, and she wasn't, I don't want to sound sexist, but use the term eye candy, which is so often, bantied about. She was so much more than that. And I just really, I found that show really, really interesting. And it was, it was a real honor to get to guest star on it. I mean, a warm, pleasant hug from Angie Dickinson.
Right. You got the hug. You posted that
was
picture.
A bonus for sure. But yeah.
And I don't think I've ever been more jealous. So,
well, moving on.
Yes, but okay. So now we are going to discuss today. We're going to discuss. We thought we talk about alien movies, and I have to say that in our preliminary talk, I was shocked and utterly disappointed when the guy who starred in one of the most beloved movies about aliens from my childhood says he doesn't really believe in them. So I was stunned and so disappointed. And now you have to explain yourself, because
I think it's a more complicated answer than just I don't believe in them, because I don't disbelieve in them either. So I'm going to be one of those really obnoxious people who doesn't exactly take a firm stand one way or the other. Because just believe me, I'm obsessed with the idea. I've been obsessed with the idea ever since I did Witch Mountain, and I was that age, and I became aware of these ideas. And going back to the 70s especially, there was such as in the early, I want to say even more so in the early 70s, before all the really great movies about aliens started coming out. We were inundated, our culture was inundated with UFO stories and sightings and documentaries and books, and I remember going to the library as soon as I started to see these things on television, and I went right to the UFO section. I didn't even know what the paranormal. I didn't even know what section it was in the library, but man, I started checking out these books, and consequently started having horrible nightmares, and I started seeing things everywhere. Oh God, yeah, yeah. I have a very my imagination gets affected very deeply and quickly over anything that it consumes, and I remember, I'm just using a movie as an example. One of my very first truly terrifying projection-based experiences watching a movie when I was probably 8 years old. I watched the original Da Vincent Price version of The Fly on television, And I got to tell you, I did not sleep that night. I could not look at, and the house we lived in had these glass doors everywhere and windows, and sort of the outside world was around, and lights and things shimmering, and oh my God, I just knew I saw the fly coming to attack us at every turn once it became dark outside. So I'm easily influenced, yes, and my head gets filled with these things rather quickly and thoroughly. And so I took on a very fast, my curiosity just really took over, and I took a very deep interest in whatever I could read about it, and without necessarily questioning their validity or anything like that. I was kind of too young to do that. But of course, as time goes on, I feel like I grew up, I learned more, and yet still things continued to affect me very deeply. And I don't know where, I'm qualifying my position on this. And then every time I feel like I had made some progress in my head over it, or at the time, I guess it was the when it was the 80s, somewhere in the mid 80s, the book Communion gets published.
I read that as well.
And turns into this massive bestseller, and everyone's talking about it. And I read it with great interest and found it to be a compelling account. That's all I can say. And all I could think of was, if this is fictional, this guy is brilliant. Because it just seemed in so many ways, and of course I've since, as before the show today, I've read several like reviews and comments about it on Amazon, and from people who've said, oh, this is the most ridiculous thing I've ever tried to read, to wow, what a compelling story. And so, but I grew up, I grew up in the world of fairy tales, movie making, and storytelling. So and all this, the hoaxes and the stories that are made up by people just to sort of spread ideas. I mean, even going back to War of the Worlds, and Orson Welles' production of that, and how quickly the mass hysteria kicked in about something we don't know anything about. And I guess that's where I'm going to end. It's going to let you talk now before I ramble on too much more, because we'll come back around to it. But it's like the fear of the unknown and the curiosity about the unknown is so profound in our consciousness, whether it's religion or just, our existence, or the existence of something other than ourselves in any way, shape, or form, is incredibly intriguing. And I think it's worth discussing. It's worth thinking about, because first of all, it's fun. And secondly, it's just fascinating.
Well, I'm one of those people that, first, I do believe, to me, it's incomprehensible that there are not. Our galaxy we haven't even reached all the parts in our galaxy, our universe, and to think that we're the only ones is just ludicrous thinking to me, that we can be so presumptuous that we're the only ones out there in this vast unknown. And in the past couple of years, our government, it always used to be our government, no, there's nothing. Anytime you talk about it, they were quick to debunk it. But now in the past couple of years, because of social media a lot, the government is basically saying, yeah, there's stuff we don't know. There's naval pilots releasing videos, the government looking into it and saying it's very possible. To me, it always seemed like in the past couple of years that they're kind of like bracing us little by little for the fact that, yeah, we got something. We have something. We have it in storage over there at Area 51. So we'll let you know when we think the time is right. But we're warming you up to the idea right now because we don't want to create a panic. So by the government kind of admitting over the past couple of years, and the most mind-boggling thing is the Pentagon has come out with it, saying things, and we don't know, and it barely makes a ripple in the news a lot because there are so many other things going on that no one's paying attention to. The government saying, yes, there are things that we don't know out there that very possibly could be aliens.
Well, yeah, they're admitting that they don't know, and that's the absolute definition of UFO. It's an unidentified flying object. It's unidentified. They don't know what it is, and that's really the point. But UFOs now become synonymous with an actual alien spacecraft, which that's part of the problem. We get used to a term and then we wrap our brains around it. And I'm going to say right now, I agree with you 100%. I really do. We can't be the only intelligent beings in the universe, because it is too vast, and mathematics just don't work that way, to my thinking. But my belief is, I'm sure they exist, but whether or not they've traversed the universe to come and stalk us and do scientific experiments on us and not reveal themselves is a little bit bizarre. But then I go to it's just bizarre for me and hard to swallow. But every time I think about that, I think about the fact that we create zoos on this planet where we go and steal animals and put them in controlled environments, and we try to make them live the most natural life they possibly could. And some of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes kind of covered this very thing. Are we just specimens in a grand controlled environment that's being watched from somewhere else? And those ideas intrigue me. Like I said, they do. And I think the recent sharing of this actual collected visual material of what these pilots are experiencing out there is absolutely chilling on so many different levels. And look, I'm not that smart. I'm not that educated. I don't know about all the different ways that human beings have been able to figure out how to track objects in the sky. I mean, we have so much incredible technology out there where we can pick things up, and yet where I start to fall apart, I look for like I want to call it the triangulation theory, but a pilot sees something. There has to be someone else that picks up this object on some secondary methodology of documenting it. And that's the information. I don't know if any of that was associated with these recent stories that are being shared with us about the things that have been seen out over the ocean or in the sky or whatever. Did radar of some kind pick them up, or whatever else? Is it just that?
There has been sharing of things on radar where objects moving too fast for anything known. So there has been sharing of that as well, talking about, this is why social media is good for this type of thing too, because there are so many people posting things, and I follow all of them as many as I can.
Okay.
I'm the guy in the tinfoil hat.
Now I'm going to have to start following more people that you follow. I've now, that's going to, starting this afternoon. Yeah.
Right. We'll go into some of them, but so I broke it down. To me, there are a few different categories of alien movies. Okay, so there's the good ones, the good aliens, the bad aliens, the funny alien movies, and then we also have, well, actually 5. Then we also have the cult or bad films, and then the animated and kids films, which Mountain falls into. So,
yes, absolutely.
There are many different types, and I have to say, I on my lists, I have the most, and I love the good alien stories. I really do, because it's so heartwarming. But I have most of the ones that I've loved under the bad alien movies, the evil aliens. And I have had one nightmare about that too, by the way. I definitely have had one that I know of, that I remember. So maybe I was taken and I just don't remember it, but it's possible. So I have had one nightmare. So.
Well, okay, so all right, you did more homework than I did. You broke all this stuff down. I mean, and I'm going to go, we just talked about aliens as a phenomenon, or existence or non-existence, but aliens as part of our entertainment. I don't know. Okay, I make these things up all the time to just make myself sound smart. Our entertainment mythology, and it does go back a long way in terms of literature, and then of course it entered movies very, very quickly, and monster movies and alien movies and ghost stories and all that stuff seems to run an interesting parallel. They run parallel to each other in a way, but I love alien movies. I do.
Yes.
I do, man. Growing up, I mean, just yeah, they truly fascinated me. And I think one of the most influential ones for me very early on was Invaders from Mars. I mean, that's just not an alien movie. That's a freaking horror story on many levels, and so well. I mean, so using aliens as a monster so effectively in such a terrifying way really captured my imagination. But it's in terms of storytelling in movies, I like challenges, and anything that is that challenging to come up with a convincing alien, a convincing alien story of any kind, when it's at least remotely successful, tickles me pink. It does. But yeah, so where you want to go with this discussion?
Well, we can talk about some of the ones that we like in each category. I mean, I think perhaps
Sure.
we could start with the good aliens, and we just, I think probably the good aliens is the most famous one. We just interviewed Dee Wallace.
Yeah.
We haven't posted
yeah.
is E.T., which is, probably just one of the most beloved alien movies
For sure.
that there is. And that's the one, in the 70s, we've discussed also the background behind me. We've discussed Close Encounters, and I loved that movie as a kid. I really I loved everything about it. And you've discussed your problems with it, which, yes, I agree with both the issues. The dad basically abandoning his family, which is true.
Well, that's, let's not chew on that
Right.
point too much, because that takes
But
away from the overall
the
success of
alien.
the movie, which we know is huge. And look, I love that film. And I said before, I waited in line for 4 hours, through 4.5 or 5 hours, 2 complete screenings. That's how long the line was at the theater to go see it. And my friend and I gladly did it. We hung out on the street and waited our turn. And certainly I was not disappointed. Because in a way, bringing up Close Encounters now, it's kind of the culmination. Because I remember reading some things about what Spielberg did, but I don't know how accurate it is based on my memory or what he put together. But I think he really did a tremendous amount of research about all the various sightings that people have talked about and the different types, and tried to create an amalgamation of all of that, including what the aliens themselves look like. Because in Close Encounters, they are the stereotypical grays, or gray aliens, that goes back to Roswell and some other strange encounters by people in the mid 40s, like 1947, 1948, and that exploded as like the cliche, what does an alien look like? Well, it's this short person with a big head, big eyes, and long arms. And essentially that's he pulled that together along with all the other stuff. So he taps so squarely into the collective consciousness about these experiences, whether we have imagined we've seen one, or have seen one, or imagine what it would be like to see one. All that came together in that movie. And to me, of course, and the thrilling, exhilarating experience of going along the journey of finding out, okay, what is this all about, as an audience member, was just extraordinary. This is extraordinary. But again, more good aliens, like you said, good aliens.
Well, that's the thing. Yes, good. Well, that's the thing. If there are aliens, that's the hope, that they're nice. They want to be friendly, because if their technology allows them to come here, that they have the technology also to do harm. So that is the hope, that if aliens come, that they're good. So that's why I like Close Encounters. But between Close Encounters and E.T., and I'm not only going to touch on the second, so we can get back to it later, was Alien, which is really bad. Alien. So I was happy when E.T. came out, because in my mind as a kid, it was always, Close Encounters was one of my first experiences with this type of movie. So I loved that whole idea. And then I got fascinated with aliens. I read, like you, I started taking a book, either from the library or buying them, had my dad buy them for me at the bookstore, of good alien. And then Alien comes out, he's a bad alien. He me back again to the good alien concept. It was like, right around just going into my teens when that came out. So I was really at the right age, and it was such a lovely film, such a wonderful film, and so heartwarming. So that's still, I still love that movie to this day.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm with you. I'm completely with you. And yeah, I mean it's also it's a lesson in humanity, and not so much an experiment about what it's like, what it might be like to encounter an alien. Okay, yeah, huge favorite of mine, but it really is it's a monster movie, and it's a monster movie in space. And that idea is, very, very interesting, because it's not a creature that does travel. We travel to it. That's
Right.
the thing that kind of flips the mythology on its head. It's because we went out into space to somewhere where we might run into another life form, and then we end up finding it. And yes, all it does want to do is eat us. No technology, just its own body and its own teeth and its own claws. That's it.
Let me get to the bad alien ones in a second. I just want to touch upon some of the good ones that I saw.
Oh, sure. Oh, sorry.
Listed. I mean, besides ET and Close Encounters, there was, Starman, Batteries Not Included,
yeah,
Cocoon, and even The Last Starfighter, which was, Galaxy Quest before Galaxy Quest, kind of, a little bit. The Last Starfighter is another one. Good alien takes this kid to help fight against the bad alien. So
yeah,
it's that's these are some of the good. I mean, there's some crossover ones, the family ones. I'll mention the family ones later, but those are the ones that I saw that are like good alien movies, and I love all of them. Cocoon was so different in a movie because it was you didn't really see movies focusing around older people with it.
Yeah.
So that was very different, and I was still a teen then, and I loved that movie. And Batteries Not Included was kind of a little bit the same.
Well, and you brought up Starman, which I'm glad you did, because I truly love that film. Jeff Bridges was absolutely brilliant in it, and the idea of it, the challenge has always been, it seems, what does the alien look like? Okay, what sort of countenance does it take on? Is it a biped like us with arms and eyes and a head and all of that, or is it some variation on that, like we see so frequently in the classic alien terror movies? But Starman made such an intelligent choice to where we have a visitor from another world that has access to an ability, whether it's a technology or it's just an ability to take the form of the creature of the planet that it's come to visit. And the fact that he basically takes the DNA of the lead character's dead husband and brings him back to life was extraordinary to me. I just thought the idea was so good, because immediately you're done with having to deal with, okay, what do these aliens look like? Well, no, they can take on a form. And then he learns how to be a human. Like, he starts out as an adult infant and then moves through this character arc that's just, I just found it touching and wonderful, and a really great take on it. So anyway, that's my in-depth analysis about Star
No,
Wars.
I said I do love the good alien movies. It's still to this day I do love that, again, because that's what you want. That's what you're hoping for. If anyone comes here, you want to befriend the good. You like a ship lands in your yard, an alien. You hope it's someone good that's going to befriend you and say, "Oh, let me show you all these wonders," instead of zapping you and killing you, or like kidnapping you to outer space somewhere. So
yeah. Or having me for dinner.
Yes, exactly.
so I'm loving that you've got to list these things, because I didn't do that kind of homework for the show today. So what else? Because I'm trying to think on the fly other good alien stories, and what else do you have more on your
Well, I
list,
don't know
or
if
those just your
you
highlights?
ever see Batteries Not Included?
I have not seen it. No.
Oh, that's such a sweet film. It really is a sweet film.
Oh wow.
You
Okay.
you must see it. It's these, I guess, like tiny little aliens, think that they think are toys, and they go through this like apartment complex, the apartment building, and changing the lives of the people in there. And it's very, very sweet film. And I can't believe you've not seen that. You see all the sci-fi films.
Well, I tended to, yeah, but some of those, just like Short Circuit, I've never seen, which is not really an alien movie.
Short Circuit's not really an alien.
It's not an alien movie, but I'm just saying it's still like a sentient robot type character. But so there's a good list of films like that were probably a little bit more, in my mind, youth oriented, and probably didn't draw my interest, obviously, because I didn't watch them. But these are things I should catch up on.
I will go see. I used to have these. I love these kid friendly movies still to this day. And I'm upset a little bit because I used to have my kids as the excuse to go see them, because I would have loved them on my own anyway. Now that they're older, I don't have that excuse anymore, but I'll still go see it on my own. So it doesn't matter to me. I went to a movie by myself last night. I yelled at my kids about it, but I went to last night to a movie by myself. I will do that if I want to go see a film.
Well, I will too. I find it harder these days to watch them by myself, because usually I'm consuming my entertainment with my wife, who could not stand watching those kinds of movies, and I just know it. So it's fine with me. I find a way to squeeze them in, maybe, and if I'm sitting in front of my computer once in a while.
She's married to one of Disney's famous aliens. I don't understand that. So.
Yeah, I don't either. She'll watch that one. Did she
like it? At least I want to know that. Did she like it?
Yeah, she loves it. She loves it. Yeah, she loves it. So yeah, another good alien movie, most certainly. And believe me, with my wild imagination as a child, when I got to do that and I read the script, and I didn't know what it was about when I got the role, and then reading it, I was so excited. My heart was racing, reading through the whole script, and then to find out that the brother and sister were actually from another planet, and that's why they have these powers. It was an exhilarating read, and I was super excited and proud to be a part of that.
I bet.
So, yeah, I mean,
for sure. Getting to be an alien. Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But my list for here's the thing. My list for like bad alien movies dwarfs that I loved. I mean, dwarfs the good one like totally. I think it's probably double the size of a bad alien. You started touching about Alien itself, and that movie did scare me as a kid, and that's why I was so happy that E.T. came out to change my perspective again.
Not another one I have not seen.
Which one?
Dwarf?
Oh no, I'm saying no. I'm not talking about dwarfs. I said it dwarfs my list. Not
dwarfs your list. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought there was like some horror story called Dwarves or Dwarf or something.
It was Critters, which was. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't.
Oh, I killing me. That's a D. Wallace film, actually, too.
Well, see, this is why you're my partner in crime here, because you've consumed so much more, and at times these should fall on our forgotten films list. I don't know, Critters is not a forgotten film, but that forces me to see some of these movies, if not anything else for the show.
It's such a. I'll say with Critters, it could be under the comedy. It's such a schlocky film. It really is, Critters, but it's attained like really cult status that it's so many people love that movie. Yeah. And they did the franchise. After the first one, I was like, okay, but there are so many, but here's some of the bad alien movies, which, we've had Alien, Predator, Independence Day, Signs, The Thing, Super 8, Starship Troopers, They Live, Battleship, Attack the Block, Edge of Tomorrow, and yours, the one you mentioned, The Hidden. So there's so many in there.
You're mentioning bad aliens like monster aliens is kind of, because when you said bad alien movies, I thought, well, there's a whole lot of just bad quality alien movies.
Right.
But yeah, it just goes back to the monster genre, really. That's pretty much what it's about. But it is so funny that by and large, it's one thing that's always bothered me about the visualization of aliens from another world, and this is going to include ET and Close Encounters, because you're talking about the bad aliens and these great aliens. They're all naked, and they're always naked. They don't wear clothes. They don't need spacesuits. They somehow are able to traverse light years, with all their bits hanging out, and it just cracks me up. It cracks me up because I don't know why that concept and the little green men concept has always been interpreted that way. It's just very strange, because it's just strange. It's a weird thing in my mind.
Well, I have to ask about some of the ones there. Yes. No, I agree with you. But there are movies also with the aliens with clothes, but yeah, some of the classics, they I guess. Now, you have seen The Thing, I'm assuming.
Oh yes, both of them. Yes.
Okay. Because that one, to me, that's one of my favorite ones. And have you seen, now let's talk about some of the more recent ones now. Have you seen Super 8?
I've seen Super 8. I loved that movie. I got so lucky. Yes. I got so lucky because I saw it, of course, when I could rent it from Amazon. I didn't see it when it first came out, and I barely remember it. I just remember hearing the title and thinking, and I had no idea what it was about. I quite literally had no idea. So when I sat down to watch it with my wife, and she actually enjoyed it, that's when she enjoyed, because it is a really good movie. But it starts unrolling, and all of a sudden it turns into an alien invasion story, and I was like, oh, are you kidding me? I had no idea. We're not set up for it in any way, and certainly not from the title or anything like that. So I purposely didn't read the log line or the synopsis, and just thought, this movie's got so much attention, I've just got to watch it. So I was very pleasantly surprised, because that was neat to get to see a new alien movie when I didn't know that's what I was going to see.
It was fantastic. I did see that one in the theater, and I loved it. And I watched this. My kids love it now too. They've seen it. It's just such a well done movie. It's like, definitely, it's like a tribute to like all those Spielberg movies. Of the time. It's just really paying honor to it. It's incredibly so well done. And the kids were really good in that movie as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, fantastic performances, and just an intriguing.
Here's a couple that I have to ask now if you have seen now, but have you seen Attack the Block?
I've never heard of it. Attack the Block.
Yes, it's a British film with John Boyega, who was in the last Star Wars trilogy. The effects are not great. I'll say this: the effects are not great. They're actually working on a sequel now, but it's another one. It's this gang of kids who they have to, and they're really a gang. They're not like great kids when the movie starts, but they're the ones that have to fight off this alien invasion. They wind up being, they're the ones that fighting against the aliens when they come. And it's funny. There's a lot of funny elements in it too, but it's such a fun film. I really recommend that you watch it. But anyone watching this episode should definitely check this out because they, like I said, they are working on a sequel.
Wow, it's interesting that I've never even heard of it. When did it come out?
Was this in 90s or 2000? Now I got to go check. I'm sure it was in
Oh, okay.
2000s.
So it wasn't that recent, but it was fairly recent.
Attack the Block was 2011. Really?
Okay.
So it's, yeah.
Okay.
So it's like only 10 years. But
Wow.
it's a fun film. Definitely a fun film. And here's some of the other ones, you know, the Edge of Tomorrow, which is the Tom Cruise one. Starship Troopers is along the same lines as it. And you know, Independence Day I loved as well.
Oh, it's hilarious. I mean, I find it hilarious. You know, that's how I see it. And we actually did watch that. I made Tia watch Independence Day on July 3rd. I didn't save it for the 4th, but I said, no, we have to, you know, this is what the movie's called. We've got to watch it. And I set her up for it. And of course she thought it was ridiculous.
Just now, was it this year or another year?
This year. No, I just did.
This year.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen it before. First time.
No, but
yeah,
she's not seen it before then?
I think it's the first time she's seen it. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, you really, I've told this story before, but I'm going to tell it again because I think it's one of the most amazing stories I've ever heard. When my wife, who was previously married, and she has children, when she started to have children, she just didn't go to the movies. They stopped going to the movies. She didn't go. She didn't watch hardly any television at all. She raised her kids. And they went to Disney movies. They went to certain movies at certain times, but she just didn't watch anything for like 30 years. And so, there's, I mean, all of these movies, a ton of movies that she has never seen. I mean, huge classics. So I try to share those with her as we, you know, develop our little entertainment schedules on the weekends and movies that I want to see again, that she's never seen before, like Jeremiah Johnson. I mean, you know, we just watched that over the weekend. And because it popped into my head and I thought, you know, that's a really good film and it's been a long time. And she really enjoyed it. And of course I did too, because I loved it back when I saw it in the theater as a kid. So anyway, no, there's so many of these movies she's never seen before. She hadn't seen Independence Day before. I've seen it many times, of course, but that one's just a blast. And I love those nasty aliens. I love them.
They're fun.
I mean, it's like they're revolting, disgusting, and horrifying, and really well designed. Yeah.
Now I'm going to go venture into, and this category I do love. I love the funny alien movies, and let's see if any of these stick out to you. The ones that you've seen or not. Here we have the Watch, At World's End, Men in Black, Mars Attacks, Galaxy Quest, Paul, Pixels, Evolution, Absolutely Anything. And here's one from the 80s, Earth Girls Are Easy. So
yes,
those that stuck out.
Yes. Well, I love the Men in Black series.
Yeah.
I just thought that was great fun. Just really, really great fun. One you didn't mention, Explorers.
Explorers I do have here under, I should have mentioned on the good aliens, kind of. But I did, yeah, I forgot to mention it before, but I do have Explorers.
Oh, okay. I just think of them as funny aliens because
yeah,
it was Explorers where they learned, isn't it that where the aliens had learned everything they knew about humans from TV? And so they were just
Galaxy Quest.
No, Galaxy Quest is the Star Trek parody.
Right. Yes. But they all,
I think Explorers was the aliens picked up television signals, and when they meet the kids, all they do is quote TV shows to converse with them. And so I think that's it. I hope I'm not mistaking it for something else.
Well, I believe you're right. Now I got to go look at the plot because I did love Explorers, and it's been a long time since I've seen it. Now I got to go look up.
That was Joe Dante, I believe, the director. But but no, I haven't seen Paul. Of course, Invaders from Mars is I love that movie because that's yeah. I mean, I'm a Tim Burton fan anyway, so when he's wants to play around with a subject like that,
Mars Attacks. Mars Attacks. Yeah.
Mars Attacks, not Invaders. Invaders
Yes.
from Mars was the 50s. Mars Attacks, yeah.
Right.
I just thought it was fantastic.
Evolution was a David Duchovny film, which was a funny film also.
Mhm.
And I don't know if you saw the Adam Sandler film Pixels. It did not get great reviews. I enjoyed it, but I don't know if you've seen it.
No, I did not. I did not see it. No.
So it's like these aliens kind of attacking Earth using like 80s video games to attack Earth. Like, like Pac-Man will come and then Space Invaders.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. It did not, like I said, did not get great reviews, but I still enjoyed it. And at World's End is, a Simon Pegg movie, the same one, Simon Pegg, Edgar Wright, the same ones that did Shaun of the Dead. So another really funny movie, like, aliens take over this town, like little by little, replacing the people in it. So I definitely recommend that one as well.
I'll have to check that out. I've not seen that one either. Yeah. You're going to hate me by the end of this.
The same one, like, yeah, no, I'm shocked with you. But not shocked. We've discussed, like I said, you were in them and I saw them. So
yeah.
And then we have the cult alien movies, which we have the Howard the Duck and Rocky Horror that no one remembers is really an alien movie. And
yeah,
because there was right.
You're right.
And the one that disappointed me, because it's my favorite book, is Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I did not love that movie, and I like I said, I'm such a huge fan of the book, and I just thought the movie was okay.
Yeah, I don't think I think I may have tried to watch the movie a long time ago, but it didn't do anything for me, and I had not read the book, so I didn't have that in up front. So even not having read the book,
now you've not read the book. Oh my God!
Yeah.
You're wounding me. You must read that book.
Look, you can. I now have my homework assignment. I'm making notes now. I know it's one of those epic sci-fi stories that I did not pick up, and everyone around me was reading it and going crazy over it, but I just didn't. I'm not sure why. I wasn't avoiding it for any reason.
I played the video game too, which I enjoyed a lot. It was, it was a text-based adventure, and it was a lot of fun also. In that one. So I miss those games. And now I will touch on the animated and kids movies, the aliens, and see if anyone stick out to you with those. Of course, Witch Mountain we have that might stick out to you, but Monsters versus Aliens, Mars Needs Moms, Lilo and Stitch, my son's was favorites for years. The Cat from Outer Space, Aliens in the Attic, and the one that I thought was really well done. I don't know if you've seen Planet 51.
Okay, wait a second. No, I have not. No, I haven't seen any of those.
Any of them.
I haven't seen any of them.
Okay, Planet 51 is really well. Planet 51 stars The Rock. Actually, it's an animated film, and they twist the concept around totally. He's an astronaut and he lands on another planet. It's of aliens, and they're behind us in technology, and they're living like in a 1950s era alien world where they have sock hops, drive-in theater, movies, everything big. Their technology is so far behind us that we're the aliens to them. It was really well done.
Wow. Well, I don't know if this one completely qualifies because it is about a robot, but Iron Giant kind of qualifies because
great
it comes comes from somewhere out in space. And I just recently rewatched that one. I mean, man, it just guts me every single time. It's so beautiful and powerful and well told. but yeah, I think that kind of almost falls into that
I
category.
love that movie. Yes, that movie does hit me every single time. Did you
Yeah.
see, now getting off, did you saw Ready Player One?
Okay. I read Ready Player One and I loved that book. I could not get past the first 15 minutes of that movie.
Really?
I just thought I it was I don't know. I don't know. I mean, and I do have some other friends who are avid readers and they enjoy science fiction and all kinds of things, who also just couldn't watch it either. So
Really?
I felt I was in good company. Yeah, yeah. Like I've said, these days, if I'm not, I mean, if I'm not pulled in, I just don't want to spend the
Continue.
time. Yeah, I just don't, and because very rarely for me, really the first act is everything. If you're not sucked into the first act, I don't know how a second and third act can make up for what's lacking in the beginning, and I just didn't get into it. And I keep threatening myself to try to watch it again and watch it all the way through just to see if there's a redeeming quality to the movie. But for me, I don't know. I didn't like it.
See, I saw the movie before buying the book, so I really did enjoy the movie.
Uh,
I'm just mentioning it there, segueing into it, because there is a scene featuring in the movie that features the Iron Giant.
oh, I've heard this. I think we talked about this once
Yeah.
before, but yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it was like bringing back, like, oh, I'm so happy to see the Iron
yeah.
Giant on
Oh,
screen again.
well, it's just that perennial conflict that we always have, where if a book's really great and they make a movie out of it, we're often disappointed just because of the things you have to do to adapt huge stories like that to the screen. And my favorite example is The Shining, because I did not read The Shining until the last couple of years, and The Shining as the movie is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Mhm.
um and then reading the book, I found it utterly disappointing. It was so different when I knew it was going to be, based upon all the press about it and all Stephen King's bemoaning what Kubrick
Right.
did with the movie. But I remember the quote of Kubrick was, he felt like Stephen King had a really great ghost story that he just utterly failed to tell properly, or something like that, something incredibly arrogant. And I didn't really disagree with him. But anyway, so there's that. If you see the movie first and you have no expectation, then there's a little bit better ease of your way into it, because really the whole first act of the movie Ready Player One bears the resemblance it bears to the book is probably the first 5 minutes, and then it goes off on a wild chase, crazy action sequence that doesn't exist in the book. And it's just like, I was like, okay, I don't even know what I'm watching, and I'm sure it'll end up somewhere familiar, but it just wasn't at all. So it lost me, and that's probably why, because I had an expectation.
Well, yeah, first of all, I have to ask, are there any movies that you can think of offhand that have not been mentioned, that, like, really classic alien films?
Well, you mentioned like a cult category, The Man Who Fell to Earth
Yes, that's
kind of
another one.
falls into that. And truly, one of my favorite ones is Brother from Another Planet. It's
I think I've seen that movie once. So
it's a beautiful film, and it's a fish out of water story more than anything. But you've got this character who comes to Earth. He's humanoid, um, and and he's got to figure out how our culture works in order to survive, and picks up English very slowly. It's not unlike Starman. But I haven't seen it in a very long time. So I don't remember a lot of the plot points. But of course, he meets his mentors along the way that help guide him through the process. And I really don't even remember how it ends. But I just remember really falling in love with that movie, because again, it's the whole nother concept: benevolent alien who knows nothing about us as as creatures, and has to learn along the way to find out what we're all about. And of course it's a humanity story, because you're having violence reflected through this innocent creature, this innocent creature's perspective, and trying to figure out, why do you treat each other that way, and asking all these questions that are really, it's really lovely. So yeah, that one comes to mind.
By the way, I don't know if I mentioned, I thought The Man Who Fell to Earth off. It's David Bowie, so yeah, but I think it's such a terribly done film, I thought.
Oh yeah, most people
I know people will kill me for that.
No, a lot of people think that, and I don't completely disagree. There were just ideas in it that I liked, and that's you sort of ran down the gamut of how many different perspectives there are on a human encounter with aliens, whether it's beneficial, whether it's terrifying, or what have you. The one we don't mention, because no one thinks of it as an alien movie, and it is 2001 Space Odyssey, because it is actually, that's the entire premise, is that an alien intelligence of some kind steps in to basically help along the evolutionary development of humanoid creatures on our own planet, and then we become what we become. And I've read, I haven't read yet as much as I would like to about the film, but I did read some passages about how Kubrick and Arthur C. Clarke grappled with, how do you present something that we can't possibly comprehend, which is an alien intelligence from somewhere else in our universe? What would it look like? How would it behave? And all the experiments he did trying to come up with something that was alien, that was not human, but what is it supposed to be? And ultimately he said, it's impossible. You can't really create something like that. So he turned it into an abstraction, something that happens in our mind, so to speak, more so than something that we would see, because how do you do that when no one's ever done it before? So, he grappled with the challenge in that way. And then you've got Spielberg, who grappled with it in two other completely different, utterly delightful ways. But, and then there's everything in between. So that's just another one that I would say is definitely qualifies as an alien movie, but not certainly not of the traditional nature.
I just want to say, like 2001, I did not put on like on the list here, because even though it features aliens as well, I did not put on like Star Wars or Star Trek. I just want to say, because that's not kind of those are like us again, going exploring, searching for alien life and everything. So, or on other planets. So I did not put them in here because it's not the classic alien, theme. So I guess we'll say.
Yeah, so, and there's no. I was going to say, what kind of ranks among the, I don't even know where you would place it humor wise. District 9, I think it's called.
Oh yes.
Where the aliens are just like revolting, like drunk, terrible, horrible insects that we've got to figure out how to take care of because they can't take care of themselves, yet they flew here on a spaceship. So I don't think I watched that once a long time ago, and I don't really remember it, but I did like the effects in it, and I thought the creatures were interesting, and I thought the idea was interesting. And one I have not seen that I want to, which was fairly recent, is Arrival.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I've not seen the recent one. I did see there was an Arrival, which I did love, which is like kind of like another schlock film, which I loved, an alien one with Charlie Sheen. Have you seen that one? Because that's when Charlie Sheen, I think it's a 90s film. He's like working out like I think it's like, some Latin American country, Central America, and there he discovers aliens there. And I love that movie. So when this Arrival came out, I thought, oh, they're doing that again, and it wasn't. It was a totally different film.
Oh, so it's the same. It's the same title though.
Right. Yes.
Oh, interesting. No, I didn't. I've not seen either one. I'm just bringing it to mind because it popped into my head. Strangely enough, it popped into my head because I was reading an article about octopuses, and there's this whole amazing theory about that biological creature on our planet might be our closest connection to an alien life form that could have
intelligent creature, extremely intelligent.
God, no, I mean, beyond amazing. They fascinate me endlessly, and to have the leading minds in that area now take a look at them so deeply that it's they're so foreign to our evolutionary process and the way that they function and exist, that the possibility that they could have actually originated somewhere else and ended up on the planet Earth, really that excites me beyond all belief, because that's truly an intelligent creature that can use tools, solve problems. It has no bones in it. It's the most alien kind of looking thing with the tentacles. We always play with those images when it comes to our alien creatures. And here they are living in our oceans.
Well, that's what you're talking about now. Like these are the type of things that fascinate me. I've like you mentioned octopus. You go back and you see all the pyramids with have these things that look like astronauts on the pyramids.
Oh yeah.
So that's incredible to me as well.
Yeah. Well, the bottom line is, what we don't know is so much more vast than what we do know. And we've got, was it as of today or yesterday, the first images from, and I don't know the name of the telescope. I'm terrible.
Hubble.
It's not the Hubble. It's a new one that they've just.
Oh, then
it's a new generation that they put up and received the first images.
I did see the pictures. Right.
From 13.57 billion years ago.
Yes.
And they anticipate being able to see possible other planets that could support life. And like I said, what we don't know is so much bigger than what we do know, but we're trying so hard to know these things, and this still goes along to the same conversation. When the imagination runs wild with little bits of information, we come up with all kinds of things, and we may be more accurate than we want to think we are.
Well, I'm going to put you on the spot then now, because you had to know it's coming. I did not do my research ahead of time, so I'm going to be in it with you off the top of your head. Your Mount Rushmore of alien films. You're 4.
Oh, 4. Okay.
4.
Got to do 4. Well, E.T., Close Encounters, Alien itself. I have to include 2001 because I've always seen it that way.
Well, that's 4 then.
That's 4. I did it. Yay! Okay, this is how stupid I am. Now I get the Mount Rushmore thing. I never put it together. It's 4. The Mount Rushmore is 4.
4,
wow.
right.
I'm admitting that to everyone. All you guys, yeah, I'm not as smart as I look.
Well, see, I think I'm probably with you. And right off, E.T. and Close Encounters would definitely be there for me. And Alien is like the one that's on the cusp. And even though it's such a classic film, we always go by the Mount Rushmore of it has to be our favorites. So if I'm going to do that, I might. Alien is a great film, but I would definitely put my Men in Black in there. And then I'm going to waver either The Thing or Alien, because I do love The Thing a lot.
Oh, and I get it. That's a tough choice, because The Thing is really great. I mean, it's a perfect setup. But The Thing and Alien, they're very similar structures. They're stuck someplace that they can't escape from and being terrorized by an alien life form. So they're basically the same premise, and maybe that's why they are, you're battling between the two. I'm just I love John Carpenter, but I'll take Ridley Scott over him any day. Yes. I'm sorry.
Well, yes, I'm with you. They're very similar movies. So, but I do go back. I think I have probably watched The Thing more than Alien, even though I do love Alien. So it's tough for me than that one. And there's so many great ones that that I would cut off, that I hate cutting off because they're right there with me too. But we're only picking 4.
Okay. Well,
let us know in the comments what you guys think. You agree, disagree, anything that we're missing that we should have included, and which are your favorites?
Yes, so, include anything in there that I should see. Oh, I'm sorry. Include in the comments anything else that I should see that I haven't seen, since I talk about them so much. I'd appreciate that, because I'll set up a new list.
Ike needs a viewing list. Yes, we have to catch Ike up to speed on some of these films. So, and he promises not to make Tia watch them.
Exactly.
Well, this has been Pop Culture Retro. I'm Jonathan Rosen with Ike Eisenmann. And please subscribe, and thanks for watching.
Thank you for listening to Pop Culture Retro, where no one was hurt during the making of this podcast.